Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. For those of you new, I'm Jeanette from Boricua Sewing and Crafts, and in this video what I'm going to do is I'm going to be talking to you about embroidering logos on children's shirts. Now, as you can see right on my cutting table, I do have a hooping station. However, the hooping station that I have, this one is for adults. It is not for children, okay? But when I got my hooping station and the set, I ended up also getting a freestyle hoop, which is that one that you see over there. Okay, and I'm going to give you a close-up of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I use this for the children's shirts. Now, I don't do children clothes a lot. I usually focus more on the adult side, but once in a while you'll get a customer that'll come to you and say, hey, I need a children's polo shirt to be embroidered. So I wanted to share with you how would I go about, putting the logo on the shirt and embroidering a polo shirt if I don't have the hooping station that is for children. Now, as I said, I usually have the one that's for adults. And, this is the one that I have. I really don't want to invest in a children's hoop because this is not really what I usually do on a full-time basis. But, like I said, once in a while you get one, right? So let me show you exactly what I do, okay? So I'm going to move the camera down a little bit. And this is a sample shirt that came from the customer with the school, the logo that they want on the shirt, okay? And she went ahead and she purchased her polo shirts for her son. Now, one of the things that I am really big on is the printing of templates of embroidery, okay? And I'm going to give you a close-up and I'm going to tell you why, all right? Now, for those of you guys that have watched me for quite some time know that I like to use Embrilliance, and I know that all the other embroidery software out there do have the same function, which is the capability to do a printout of the stitch out, okay? Now, why do I like this so much? If you pay attention, you do know where your center point is, and also it gives you a true idea of where, how big your item's going to be. Now, because I don't have a hooping station, I have to look at the sample shirt to see exactly where they place the item. And looking at the sample shirt, let me push this back so that you can see how I am doing this. What I do is I kind of look at it, and as you can see right here, they kind of have the school name right smack in the middle between the second button. Okay, so this seems to be like where they actually position the logo, right? So what I'm going to be doing is because I know that's where it's going to go, if you look at the shirt that was provided by the customer and you look where I actually placed the template, I placed it right there. Okay, I can even move it up a little bit if I want. I think I will. I think it looks good right there. I think this is perfect. And then I just use Scotch tape. And then one of the things that I like to do is I like to make sure that it's taped down. Now, another tape that you might want to consider to do, is if you don't want to use Scotch tape, because Scotch tape sometimes really doesn't grab too closely to the fabric. Okay. Another alternative besides that is if you have painter's tape. Now, for some reason, painter's tape really seems to work better. It's just that at the time when I was, when I was looking for the tape, I really couldn't find it, but I do have it. But the thing is, this really would grab better with the fabric. And you don't want to use tape that is too strong, because if it's too strong, you don't want it to pull fibers, okay? So, if you use Scotch tape, that's good. Just go ahead and make sure that you, kind of really tack it down, because you want it to really grab onto the shirt. This is very easy to pull off, okay? It's not going to damage the shirt or anything like that. So it's just something that that I usually do. Okay, so this is a really good tip. Now, how do I actually take this shirt and how do I use the freestyle in order for me to hoop the item? So it really is kind of simple. This is a 5x5 hoop. This is the top of my 5x5 hoop. Let me fold this really neat. As you guys that watch me know that I am a neat crafter. I like everything to be nice and neat in my room. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside. And let me take the one that we're going to embroider. Okay, now I want to make sure that you guys can see exactly what I am going to be doing. All right, let me position the camera correctly. So I'm going to be taking this shirt and I am going to actually well, I'm not going to unbutton it. I'm going to leave this button on, okay, because I don't want any kind of slippage and stuff. So I have 2 pieces of cutaway stabilizer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here. And I'm just going to lay it in here. And you try to make it as straight as possible, okay? Turn out the collar because you don't want too many things in the way. All right, you kind of feel away for the edge of your hoop, all right? And you want this as straight as possible in the hoop, okay? Now I'm just going to take this and I'm going to give it a good smack. And sometimes it kind of helps when you have it already aligned in there. There you go. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and there you go. So now I have it in the hoop, okay? And I know exactly where I need my image to be, all right? And I know it's a little bit on the high side, but I'm not worried about it because the needle can reach here and it's not going to hit the side of this thing. Now, where am I going to embroider this? I'm actually going to do it on my brother 1055X because it has a camera, and I'm going to show you how I utilize the camera to make sure that the embroidery is going to actually embroider right on top to this logo. Okay, so let's go over to the machine. All right, guys, I am at the machine, and I'm going to put my shirt in here. Now, one of the things that I want you guys to notice is I am putting in the shirt upside down. There is a reason why I'm doing that, okay? When I did it the other way, this is really kind of small, so it's like you don't want, it was kind of shifting the shirt. This is the bottom of the shirt, so I'm putting it in this way. So when you do that, you want to make sure that you have your embroidery file positioned the same way. So you want to make sure that you have it upside down, okay? Another thing you want to do is when you put this in there, you want to run your hand on the bottom of the hoop. You want to make sure that none of the shirt is kind of like tucked away in here, okay, when it's embroidering, because you don't want the back of the shirt to be embroidered together with the front of the shirt. So you want to make sure everything is out of the way of the area that you're going to embroider and everything looks good. All right, so let me show you the screen. Okay, so now you see that I do have this in the machine, right? And now I'm going to go over to the screen. Now, it's going to be pretty hard for you to see, but if you look in this area right over here, this is actually where the image is. The reason why it's hard for you to see is because I have it in the white on the white background, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this little camera right here, and when I hit this, I'm going to hit OK. And what's going to happen is it's going to actually scan the hoop with the item in it. There you go. All right. Now I'm going to, let me increase this a little bit because I want you guys to actually see something here. Okay. Let me make this a little bigger. All right. Let me get a little thing that I can point at so that way you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. Here we go. Here's a little pointer thing so you guys can see. There you go. Now, as you can see right here, this is the fabric and this is the image right here. Okay. You know, this is the piece of paper, your template, all right, that I printed out. This white part right here, this is where it's going to stitch. Okay. What you want to do is you want this part where it's going to stitch to be right on top of your template. So what I'm going to do is you see these little arrows right here? I'm going to hit that and look how, see how this moved? As I hit this, I want you to look at this. See how it's moving? It's moving a little up. See if I can make this a little bigger for you guys. so you guys can really appreciate it. There you go. This is exactly on top. There you go. It's exactly on top. So once you have that positioned correctly the way you want it, when you have it positioned exactly the way you want it, okay, that is when you can go ahead and you would hit this button right here and you want to do a trace. Because when you do the trace, what I am looking for is I want to make sure that the needle, which is this needle right here, the third one, with the white thread, is not going to hit the side of the hoop. And I know it's not, but you know, I just wanted to show you for demonstration purposes. So I am hitting that, and oh, the first needle actually went down. Okay, that's fine. It's perfect, and I can see it's not going to hit this side of the hoop. Okay, and I'm going to run my hand behind here one more time because I want to make sure nothing is in the way, and it's not. Once you have all that done, then take out your template because you no longer need it, because the template was just for you to be able to see where you were going to embroider. Okay, so just gently take it out. There you go. And now I am ready to hit the start button and watch this machine embroider. Okay, I mean now it's golden and stuff like that. So this is I'm going to hit embroidery here. This is actually a 9-minute stitch, just so you guys can see. It's 9 minutes. Okay, I do slow down my machine. I have it down at 700 stitches per minute. The reason why I like to slow it down, it kind of prevents thread breakage. And I'm not really in a rush. I don't mind having a slow going machine unless I have a whole bunch of them. But but I'm pretty good at at this speed. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start the machine and let's see how it stitches out. Okay, everybody, this is complete, and I'm going to take this over to the cutting table so that we can take a look at it, okay? All right, guys, here we are at the cutting table. Let me put this here for now, and I am going to remove this, but let's get a little close up what it looks like. This looks pretty good. Got a little piece of thread that I'll go ahead and cut from there, and I'll use my little snips for these. Love these things. So I will just cut this right here. There you go. Now it's done. Yep. All right, gone. Looks good. I really like the way it looks. Let me take it out of the hoop though so we can look at it more closely. Okay. I'll take out the bottom of the hoop and make sure you guys can see everything that I'm doing. All right. Looks good. All right, let me put this aside. And usually what I do, as you can see, looking at it right away, it's perfect. It's perfect. Just going to give you a close-up so you guys can see what it really looks like. Here we go. Let's look at it. See, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Right? Looks nice. The customer will be really happy. Okay. Now, I use, like I said, for this, I use two sheets of Cutaway stabilizer because these are closed and these are stretchy. Okay. So when you have stretchy material, you always want to make sure you use Cutaway. Okay. So, you know, I see some people out there talk about putting tearaway on clothes. It depends on the fabric. Always make sure you look at that, okay? If you have stretchy fabric, cutaway is how you want to go. You do not want to go tearaway at all. Tearaway dissolves in the wash, and it's not really going to help the prolong the embroidery, you know, the look. Okay? So just something to think about. You know, try to learn what stabilizer to use with what. That's really going to help you. I'm just going to throw this out because you guys know I'm neat when it comes to my running my shop here. I don't like having stuff thrown all over the place. Everything has to have a place. Stay organized. There you go. There you go. Really nice. Really, really nice. And also, I wanted to give you guys a little thing that I do also, all right? Sometimes you hear a lot of people talk about 60 weight thread versus 40 weight thread. One of the things that you want to understand is 40 weight thread is usually the standard weight thread for embroidery, okay? Now, 60 weight is used for very small fonts, okay? And when I'm talking about small fonts, I'm not talking about fonts like what you see right here. This is not what I consider small fonts. Small fonts is this, okay? These are very small fonts. These are like less than half of an inch, okay? Like a quarter of an inch. That's what this says, okay? So when you are embroidering fonts such as this, what you want to do is you want to use a 60 weight thread. Now, a lot of times people get confused and they're like, what's the difference between 60 and 40? What it is the thickness of the thread. So what I did here was I used this logo, okay, and I stitched it twice on a piece of fabric to show you guys. And I marked it so that you can see the difference between a 40 and a 60, all right? Now, the top one right here is a 60 weight thread. Looks pretty good. The one at the bottom is a 40 weight thread. Now, looking at it right away, you may come out and say, well, Jeanette, they kind of look the same. However, though, if you're good at what you do and you're really focused on perfection, I'm going to put this a little bit closer. Now, look at the F. Look at the letter F. I want you to pay attention to this little area right here, the bottom of the F. I want you to take a look at it. Okay? See how there is a little bit of spacing? Now, why is that? The reason is because 60 weight thread is thinner. It's thin thread. It's what you use with a 65-9 needle, okay? And because it's thinner, your font is not really going to come out like real thick, okay? Now we're going to look at the bottom where you have your 40 weight thread. I want you to look at the F. I want you to look at the R, okay? And let me try to fold this in such a way that you can look at both. Let me see if I can do this here, because this is one of the things that is really, really important. Let's look at the top. Look at the top letter F. This is 60. Look at the bottom, 40. Notice the difference. The one at the bottom looks thicker, more fuller, okay, because it's a 40 weight thread. The one on the top looks thinner, and it should look thinner because it's 60 weight thread. So that thread is thinner than the one at the bottom, okay? So, also learn about the different weights of thread, okay? So 40 is usually the standard for normal embroidery, but if you have something that is really thin, small, like I said, like these little patches right here, this is where you want to use a 60 weight thread. It's just something little thing that I just wanted to show you guys. So, I went and I stitched this out because I thought this would be the perfect logo to show you guys regarding the difference between 60 and 40 weight. Okay, so going back to this, just a little extra, okay? Going back to this, as you can see, came out really, really nice. Another thing too, if you are embroidering for a business, okay, packaging, very, very important. One of the things that I do is I always make sure that I package my stuff in a plastic bag, just like this. Like this is how the customer will get it. And then behind it is where I add the invoice, and I also, add the invoice, and I add little advertisements about my business and stuff like that. And then what I do is I give it to them in a nice little thank you bag. And the thank you bags that I usually use are similar to this. I need to buy some bigger ones because sometimes I do get some bigger items to embroider. So I just put it in this, okay? So, makes it really nice. Presentation is everything, okay? So just remember, guys, it's not just your embroidery, because of course they did come to you for embroidery, but they also, the way you present your products to your customer, that's going to count as well. That's really important. So anyway, guys, I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing, because I'm all about teaching about embroidery, running an embroidery business. I also have embroidery happy hour every Friday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, where I always like to pick a topic about embroidery, sewing, or the crafts. And, first hour is usually where I go ahead, give you all the information regarding the topic. And then the second hour of the show, I usually like to interact with you guys in the chat room, answer questions, and address any concerns that anyone has regarding sewing and embroidery. So guys, like I said, thank you so much for watching my video, and hope you like it. Give it a thumbs up because it really helps the channel a lot. And I will see you guys later. So happy sewing and happy embroidering. Bye.